Hi, good evening everyone. Back again, myself Prince from Aussie's Migration and Education Consultants. I'm here to discuss about the recent 457 changes and what are the future changes going to be in the month of July, December and next year in March onwards. So we will be discussing a few topics today. I'll just give you a bit of overview about the topics what we're going to discuss today. So as we all know that recently we had changes on 19th of April 2017 last month, a couple of months ago, regarding 457 visa. As we all know that the previous SOL list and CSOL list, it has been modified, like I wouldn't say modified, it has been changed from SOL to MLT STSOL list, which is a medium to long-term list, which I call it's a good list, and the CSOL list, which has been replaced by STSOL list, which is a short-term list, and I'll call it as a bad list as compared to the good list for MLT STSOL. So additionally, from 19th of April 2017, we got few other changes. One of the main thing is that the people who are on people who hold a existing 457 visa, they are not affected by these recent changes, so they can still apply for ENS further as long as they complete their 2 years before March 2018. They should be able to apply under ENS transition stream. Additionally, they have recently introduced the caveats on the certain occupations from MLT STSOL list and STSOL list. Some of the caveats, I'd better explain you what caveats exactly meaning is. It's the additional requirement that you have to meet if you want to apply for those particular occupation. Just to give you an example, like if you want to apply as a customer service manager, the minimum salary offered to you must be $65,000, and the turnover of the business would be around 1 million, at least minimum $1 million turnover for the business. And if you want to apply for a restaurant manager, you can't get a 457 sponsorship anymore if you want to apply for a 457 as a restaurant manager from a coffee shop, or if it's a limited limited service food restaurant. Couple of other occupations which does have caveats applied on it is one is a beauty salon manager. So if you want to apply as a beauty salon manager, you can't apply for 457 visa if the salon doesn't have minimum 5 employees. So it doesn't have to be full-time employees. It can be a combination of part-time and full-time employees, but the salon must have minimum 5 employees. And lastly, hairdresser, that's one of the very common occupation that comes into picture when we talk about 457 visa. So if you want to apply as a hairdresser, as per the recent changes, the new caveat says that as a hairdresser you must have minimum 2 years of experience. So if you want to apply for a 457 visa as a hairdresser, as per the new regulations and rules, you must have minimum 2 years of experience as per the caveats. So that's the recent changes I'm talking about, which happened from 19th of April 2017. But what are the future changes? So a lot of people are worried what's going to happen on 1st of July 2017. And there are a lot of questions we have been asked in the last couple of months, like what's going to happen from 1st of July 2017 and what will be the future changes in December and from March 2018 next year. So that is the reason why I'm here today to discuss all these concerns what the applicants have. So let's start with July onwards, because obviously I'm pretty much sure most of you guys would know what are the changes have happened like on 19th of April, but a lot of applicants nowadays are concerned with the new changes what's going to introduce after 2 weeks, which is like 1st of July 2017. What's going to happen from 1st of July 2017? So I'll bring into your notice that some of the main points which are going to come in effect from July 2017. So one of the main thing is that from 1st of July they will be reassessing the entire list for MLT STSOL and STSOL, which I previously said that MLT STSOL I consider it's a good list, whereas STSOL I consider it as a bad list. Reason being, if your occupation falls on the MLT STSOL list, which is medium to long-term list, you still be able to apply for ENS down the track But for STSOL, the reason why I said it's a bad list, there will not be any permanent residency option for the candidates for the occupation if their occupation falls on STSOL list, which is short-term list. So anyways, like I said before, the occupation list will be reassessed on 1st of July, and the Department of Immigration will be reassessing the entire list every 6 months. So they're going to do it on 1st of July. They will be releasing a new list, but down the track 6 months later, they're going to reassess the list. So you can expect some of the occupations may be added to the list, or some of the occupations may be removed from the list as well. For one of the main concern for existing 457 holders who wants to apply for ENS transition stream, unfortunately they have to have minimum 6 each in IELTS or equivalent to PTE score. So that's something they have recently changed, and it has affected a lot of applicants out there. So before it was, minimum 5 each for ENS transition stream, but as per the new changes on 1st of July, you have to have minimum 6 each in IELTS to apply for ENS transition stream. Now, few of the other things, if you're going to apply for 457 visa, if you have applied for 457 visa, or if your 457 visa has not been granted yet, so as per if you're going to apply for new 457 visa, from now onwards, from 1st of July onwards, if you apply for 457 visa after 1st of July, Department of Immigration will be asking for skill assessment. So there will be mandatory skill assessments. Now, one of the major concern here is that, which still department has not clarified, it depends on the country you come from and what occupation you have applied for. So this is pretty strange for all of us to understand why they have. Well, as per the policy, I understand. I agree that they select the countries on the basis of risk. So if you from say South American background, or if you come from a developed country where they've got the right skills, Department of Immigration feels that they do not need mandatory skill assessment. But for a lot of the Asian countries, I would say Vietnam, Philippines, and India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, a lot of people from these nationalities, from these countries, from these countries would be required to have mandatory skill assessment. But again, like I said before, it depends on the occupation, which occupation you're going to apply for. So mandatory skill assessment from 1st of July 2017, depending on the occupation, which occupation you're going to apply for, and depends on the country you come from. Additionally, the Department of Immigration have introduced another requirement which wasn't the case before. So from 1st of July onwards, you need to provide a police clearance certificate from the country, from your home country. So it's not only from the home country. I would say any country within the last 10 years where you have spent more than 3 months, you need to apply for PCC. So that's something they needed. That's something they're going to introduce on 1st of July 2017 as well. And I'm not sure, there are not many applicants who will be affected by this new change, what I'm going to just mention. That earlier we had this thing that if you do not meet the requirement for English language, there was an exemption. A lot of people, say if I've got a restaurant, if I want to bring a cook or a chef from overseas here, and he doesn't have that English capability to meet the requirement for 457 visa, there wasn't option for them. They could have applied for they could have been offered a higher package, which was $96,400, and for that they were exempted for IELTS. So from 1st of July onwards, you must meet you must meet the English test requirements. So there is no exemption for that anymore. So if you want to apply for 457 visa, if you do not meet the English requirement, unfortunately, that's not going to happen from 1st of July 2017 onwards. You need to meet the English test requirement. So there is no exemption for high income earners anymore from 1st of July 2017. Now, one of the other things they're going to introduce from 1st of July would be the training benchmark. So I'll discuss about this a little bit later, because that's something I will cover that up in the change is going to happen from March 2018. But the training requirements will be strict from 1st of July onwards. So these are the changes, common changes going to happen from 1st of July 2017. Now let's talk about the changes which going to happen 6 months later in December 2017. So for December 2017, there are 2 major changes that's coming into effect. So if one of the major effective, or like one of the main changes that's going to come into effect from December 2017 would be Department of Immigration will be asking you for the TFN, which is text file number. So we have to submit your text file number along with your application. And the reason behind this is like department wants to make sure that your employer has been paying accordingly as per your employment contract into your nominated account. And if they do not do that, so like obviously they have to fulfill the sponsorship obligation. But if they do not meet the requirement, then they can be in trouble. And like if you're not getting paid as per your employment contract, you can be in trouble as well. So this is one of the major concerns that Department of Immigration will be asking for text file number. And one of the other I wouldn't say it's a change, but this is something really good about, like this is one of the good thing I like about this is new changes they're going to bring it from December 2017, which is like 6 months down the track. The Department of Immigration will be publishing the results for all the sponsors who have been banned or who has not obliged with the sponsorship requirements. So like say if me as an employer have sponsored you, and if I haven't met the requirements for a sponsorship, if I haven't covered all the I wouldn't say covered, if I haven't met all the requirements to be a sponsor, then I can be blacklisted from the department. So all these employers who have not met the requirements in the past, or who have been banned by the department, or who had some investigation or monitoring going on in the past with Department of Immigration will be publishing all the employees, I wouldn't say employees, all the business names and the reason why this particular employer or business has been banned for further sponsorship. So that helps a lot of clients out there who doesn't know which, if they go for a particular employer, they don't know if this employer has had any bad history or if they had any problem in the past or not. But from December onwards, it will be a lot easier for the applicants out there to find out, all right, if it's a particular employer they want to go with, they can make sure, all right, this person or this employer or this business does not have had any bad history with Department of Immigration. So this is one of the good things. A lot of applicants come to us and they're not sure whether the employer they're going to go with are they good enough to go ahead with the application or not. So yeah, it'll be good. Most of the information will be on the department website regarding the employees. So this is something, these two changes, I repeat it again. So 2 changes for December 2017. Department of Immigration will be asking the applicant for the text file number, and they will be publishing all the employees' details who have been banned or who has not complied with the sponsorship obligations in the past. So these are the 2 changes which are going to come up in December 2017. Now let's move forward. Let's talk about March 2018. What's going to happen in March 2018? So, well, there are a lot of changes going to happen in March 2018. So, as you all know, though, that 457 visa has been abolished. It is still it's still going on up till March 2018. So from March 2018, 457 visa will be replaced by TSS visa. So TSS is temporary skilled shortage visa, and it will have 2 streams. So I'm pretty much sure all of you would be aware of TSS visa. So 457 visa will be replaced by TSS visa, and this new TSS visa, which will be in effect from March 2018, will have 2 streams. So one will be short stream, and the other one would be medium term, medium to long term stream, you can say that. So short stream visa will have only 2 years, and the medium stream visa will have 4 years. Now, from March 2018, I'm not sure, a lot of applicants come to us and they say, well, is it mandatory for them to apply for labor market testing, like restaurant manager? If you talk about trade occupation, most of the trade occupation, it is mandatory to apply for labor market, to do the labor market testing. But from March 2018, it is mandatory to do the labor market testing. The reason behind this, Department of Immigration and Australian government wants to make sure that the employer or the business has done a proper labor market testing. So basically they have made enough efforts to find a local Australian citizen or permanent resident to fill the position or that occupation within the business, and they need to prove it to the department. If they haven't been able to find a particular person from the Australian market, that is the reason why they want to sponsor someone else for that particular occupation. So mandatory labor market testing will be implemented from March 2018, which is not currently the case. So from March 2018, mandatory labor market testing required. Additionally, there will be increase in the fee structure as well. For like I mentioned before, for short stream, there are two streams in TSS visa. One is short stream and the other one is medium stream. So currently for 457 visa, the main applicant charges is $1,060, excluding the credit card surcharges. From March 2018, it will be increased to $1,150 plus credit card surcharges, and for medium term, it will be $2,400. So it does depend which visa you want to apply for. If you apply for short stream visa, it will be $1,150 and you will be given only 2 years of visa. And if you apply for medium term, it will be $2,400 and you will be given 4 years of visa. Now, I just want to bring into your notice that if you apply for if you apply for a if your occupation falls on STSOL, which is short term or a bad list, if your occupation falls on that list, you will be given only one chance to renew it further in future. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of doubts and confusion about this at this stage. So if your occupation falls on medium to long term or a good list, if your occupation falls on that list, there is still a pathway towards permanent residency. But if your occupation falls on STSOL, which is short-term list, there will not be any pathway to permanent residency under ENS scheme. So even if you have your, for occupation, let's talk about say cook, it falls on short-term list. So you can apply as a cook, you will be given 2 years of visa, but in future, if you want to extend it, you can extend it for another 6 months. You can extend it for another 2 years, but you will not be able to apply for ENS under that stream. There are still options for those people whose occupation or position falls on short-term list. There is an option for them to apply for permanent residency, but that will be for under general skilled migration rather than relying on ENS. There are still options available for those occupations which falls on STSOL list. Now, one of the other requirements coming up in March 2018 is English requirements. So if you want to apply for short-term visa, you still need the same, there wouldn't be any change. Whatever the current requirements are, it will be same for the short-term visa from March 2018. So you still need 4.5H with 5 overall for short-term visa, so which will be for 2 years. Now, if you want to apply for an occupation which is on your good list, which is medium to long-term list, you need to have minimum 5 each in IELTS or equivalent PTE. So for short term, still the same requirement, 4.5 each with 5 overall. For medium term, from March 2018, you have to have minimum 5 each. Then only you will be granted TSS or temporary short skill visa. Now there are other changes that's coming into effect from March 2018 for ENS and RSMS as well. A lot of people out there wants to know what are the changes going to happen from March 2018 for RSMS and ENS. Unfortunately, I would like to mention this thing that there will not be many options available to existing students, applicants with student visa. If you want to apply for RSMS, I would say the best time for you to apply for RSMS or ENS would be before March 2018, because from March 2018 for RSMS you have to have minimum 3 years of relevant full-time experience for the nominated occupation. It is important for you to understand, if you want to apply for RSMS, if you have an option with you at this stage to apply for RSMS, I would say do it before March 2018, because from March 2018 you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time relevant work experience for the nominated occupation. Now, a lot of people don't. I'm not sure if you guys know about this or not, but currently what the scenario is, if you want to apply for RSMS, there is no minimum salary like the way it is in 457 visa. Like the minimum threshold we got in 457 visa is $53,900. That's what the current scenario for 457 visa is. But from March onwards, this minimum threshold $53,900 salary package will be implemented for RSMS as well. So it will be implemented to RSMS occupations as well. So all the occupations nominated under RSMS scheme, they have to have minimum $53,900 package. And like I mentioned before, from 1st of July, they're going to make some changes under training requirements for 457 visa, but there will be major changes from March 2018 for training requirements. So currently what the scenario is, if you want to apply for 457 visa, then you have to meet training benchmark criteria, and there is no as such thing called training benchmark criteria to be met under RSMS scheme. But from March 2018 onwards, you have to meet the training requirements. So basically, when I say training requirement, there wouldn't be anything such called training benchmark. It's something which you can say it's like a training levy. If you as an employer wants to sponsor someone, you have to you need to apply for training levy. So basically, if you want to apply for TSS from March 2018, so if you want to apply for TSS visa, your employer or the business needs to meet the requirement for training levy. So training levies, basically they have to contribute towards Australian Training Fund, so that this fund can be used to train other Australian citizens and permanent residents in Australia. So for TSS visa, if your business turnover is less than I would say $10 million, then for TSS visa, which is other name of 457 visa, I would say, then there wouldn't be any training benchmark. So for TSS visa, for a business less than 10 million turnover, it will be $1,200 per applicant. And an employer or the business has to contribute every year from there onwards once the visa gets approved. But if the business turnover is over $10 million, it will be around $1,800. That's the training levy that's going to be implemented from March 2018. However, when we talk about ENS or RSMS visa, if it's a small business, when I say small business, I'm talking about a business less than $10 million turnover. So if it's a small business, if it's a business less than $10 million turnover, the training levy would be around $3,000 for an applicant. And for a business which has more than $10 million turnover, the training levy would be $5,000. This is for ENS direct entry or RSMS direct entry as well. So I'll repeat it again. For TSS, temporary short skill visa, $1,200 for a small business and $1,800 for a large business. Small business is something less than $10 million and a large business is something over $10 million. For ENS or RSMS visa, the training levy would be $3,000 for a small business and $5,000 for a large business over $10 million. So one of the last thing I would like to bring into your notice, a lot of applicants, there are a lot of applicants out there who has been on 457 visa for say 10 years, 15 years. I mean, you'll be surprised. I've seen a lot of applicants who have been on 457 visa for 10 years and they never applied for ENS visa. But now, due to the new changes they're going to bring in March 2018, Department of Immigration has restricted the age limit as well. So from March 2018, there will be an age restriction. So if you are over 45, you will not be able to apply for ENS RSMS. So it has to be less than 45. So currently the age limit is 40. Like if you are under 50, you can still apply for 457 RSMS or ENS. But from March 2018, it will be reduced to 45 from 50. So it was 50 before. So if you're under 50, you can apply it. From March 2018 onwards, you have to be less than 45. So you have to be under 45 to apply for ENS, RSMS, or any TSS visa. So these are the major changes which has come up. Like, you know, I've discussed about recent changes in July. I've discussed about the changes going to happen. Like, initially I discussed about the changes happened in April, a couple of months ago, and then the new changes going to implement after 2 weeks in July 2017, and 6 months later in December 2017, and then further onwards from March 2018. I've already discussed all these changes, what's going to happen in next few months and in next probably down the track in another 9 or 10 months. So I can recap it again. I'll just quickly go through everything, whatever I've discussed, because I know there is a lot of confusion out there. What exactly going to happen and how is it going to work for existing 457 visa holders who wants to apply for transition stream, and or for the 457 visa holders whose occupation has been removed from the list as well. There's a lot of questions you have in your mind. I'll be taking questions. Once I go through everything, once I recap everything, I'll be taking questions and I'll be answering all of your questions. So some of the common questions I get asked from the applicants, whether, are they still eligible to apply for ENS and the transition stream or not? Well, if you have existing 457 visa, as long as you're completing your 2 years before March 2018, you should be able to apply for ENS transition stream. But you must complete 2 years of employment with your current employer before March 2018 to apply for ENS transition stream. Now, one of the other things, a lot of people ask me, with the recent changes which happened, like, is RSMS affected by that? I've already discussed this part. RSMS is not currently affected at this stage, but from March 2018, there are major changes coming up. Forgot to mention one thing which is very important for TSS visa, which is temporary short skill visa, from March 2018 onwards. If you want to apply for TSS visa, unfortunately you have to have minimum 2 years of experience. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the nominated occupation. As long as it is highly relevant to the nominated occupation, it can be accepted depending on case to case, which occupation you want to apply for and whether the experience you have is relevant to the existing occupation you have applied for. So you have to have minimum 2 years of experience from March 2018 if you want to apply for 457 visa. Now, when we talk about RSMS, it's going to be 3 years. So like I said before, if you are eligible to apply for, when I say if you have an employer to sponsor you, if you've been working with your employer, if your employer is willing to sponsor you, do not delay, do it as soon as possible, because there are a lot of changes happening from July, December and March next year onwards. So there will not be many options available to students out there who are currently studying or who are looking to apply for sponsorship later on. So the chances are less. But some of the other things I would like to discuss, if you are currently on 457 visa, you may be eligible for general skilled migration. So that's something I'm talking about, independent PR options. So I'm not talking about ENS or employer sponsored visa. I'm not talking about RSMS. I'm not talking about 457 visa. I'm talking about if you've been on 457 for 2 to 3 years, or if you have some experience, you never know, you may be eligible to apply for general skilled migration. So my advice to all of you, see what your options are. If you've been on 457 visa, if you've recently got your visa, you may have the qualification from overseas, you may not aware of that, you may be eligible to apply for general skilled migration on the basis of your overseas qualification. So a lot of applicants I've seen, they have applied. Just to give you an example, I met this person recently, the applicant, I would say, one of the client came to me and he has been on 457 visa for last 6 years. And he was sponsored as an as a customer service manager. The applicant was sponsored as a customer service manager, and he has been in Australia on 457 visa for last 6 years. But this person had a Bachelor of Engineering from back home, so he didn't even know this option, that he was eligible to apply for direct PR. I'm talking about independent PR, which is general skilled migration. So you never know, if you had your previous qualification, you may still be eligible to apply for independent PR, which is general skilled migration. So I'm talking about 189, 190 and 489. So 189, which is an independent PR option, 190 state sponsorship, and 489 regional state sponsorship. you never know, you may be eligible to apply for any of these general skilled migration visas. So do look for your options. If you are on 457 visa and if you have experience, I would say do look for your options. There may be an option for you to apply under general skilled migration. Doesn't matter if you're a cook, chef, or a restaurant manager, hairdresser, or or motor mechanic, or any. There are a lot of occupations I can name. There are a lot of occupations out there I can start speaking about, but every case is different. We got to see what occupation you've been sponsored on, and what sort of experience you've got, whether you meet the criteria or whether you meet the requirement for general skill migration or not. So like I said, by all means, just do your research. If you have any questions, just look for professional advice from your migration agents. Go and discuss your profile. You never know, there may be an option available to you which you're not aware of. And one of the other thing I would like to bring into your notice is that a lot of applicants who are on 457 visa, they come to this country on 457 visa and they have their dependent, or if I come to Australia on 457 visa, I bring along my wife as well. And I've been working on 457 visa, but I never knew that my wife had the qualification. And when I say qualification, my wife had the relevant qualification which makes her eligible to apply for direct PR. Which, until you find out, you're never gonna get to know that whether is there any option available for you guys. Like, this is basically for the people who have got dependent wife here. If she has got skills and experience or qualification from overseas, he or she may be eligible to apply for a general skill migration as well. So there are still a lot of options available. So I would encourage you to seek a professional advice, see your migration agent, and discuss your profile. You never know, there may be a good options available to you. But apart from that, if there are not many options available to you, you can still apply for any of these employer sponsored visas which we have recently discussed. And if you are able to apply for any of these visas, I would insist again, do it as soon as possible. Do not delay. But if you're looking for RSMS, do not delay any further than March 2018. And if you want to apply for 457 or ENS transition stream, do it before March 2018 as well, because from March 2018, that's when the major change is going to come in effect. We have discussed the changes which is going to come into effect from July 2017 and December 2017. But I would say the major change is going to come into employer-sponsored visa would be from March 2018. We have not had much information from the Department of Immigration what exactly going to happen from March 2018, but I've discussed all these scenarios and the information we have received from Department of Immigration so far, which is going to be implemented from March 2018. So so far this is what the major changes are. But one of the main things you need to remember is from 1st of July 2017, you have to have minimum 6 H and IELTS or PTE if you want to apply for transition stream. And one of the other major changes would be if you want to apply for ENS transition stream, if you got to be eligible for ENS transition stream before March 2018, because after March 2018, if your occupation falls on medium to long-term list, you have to have minimum 3 years, I wouldn't say 3 years of experience. You have to spend at least 3 years with your employer, which currently is 2 years at the moment. So after March 2018, you have to spend minimum 3 years with your current employer to be eligible to apply for ENS transition stream. So look, I can keep on talking about all of this. So I've just given the overview what exactly going to happen. So let's start taking the questions. I'm sure I can see a lot of questions coming up. So let me see, and I'll try my best to answer as many questions as possible. But and I'll try my best to cover up everything what I could. But let's go on with the questions. Let me have a look for the first question. All right, just give me a sec. All right, the first question I've received is from Kavya Sumit Hazra. What about accounting? Shweta Panchal, what about engineering technologies? Sorry, Kavya and Shweta, this Facebook live session we are specifically designed for 457 changes and RSMS changes. So we will be having another Facebook Live session for particular occupations like accounting, engineering, IT, and engineering technologists as well. So we will be able to cover all these questions under that Facebook Live sessions. But the whole idea behind doing this Facebook Live session would be for employer-sponsored visa. So I'm really sorry, but you can ring our office and we will be able to help with your query. So let's see the next question. Nazar Yojan, what will happen to 457 visa if 2 years complete on November 2018? Right. So like I mentioned before, my friend, if you complete 2 years before March 2018, then you would be able to apply for ENS transition stream. But if you complete your 2 years after March 2018, most likely you have to meet the new requirement, which will be minimum 3 years with the current employer. So like I said, there are a few things which has not been clarified from the Department of Immigration. We will be getting updates from the Department of Immigration. Still, there are a few things which has not been clarified. So as soon as we get any update, we will come on Facebook Live again, or we can, if you're on our Facebook page, just keep an eye on our Facebook page. Anything comes, we get any update we get from the department, we'll straight away put that onto the Facebook page, and you can update yourself as well. So yeah, as per the information what I have, if you completed 2 years in November 2018, you may not be eligible to apply ENS transition stream with 2 years requirement. You have to have minimum 3 years of requirement. Now let's move on to the next question. Mr. Jatin Dugal, just wondering how difficult is it to migrate to Australia? Someone is having qualification medium from long-term skill list and some experience in the relevant field, and what other factors are included in it? Gotta read your question again, Jatin. Just give me a sec. How difficult is it to migrate to Australia? Someone is having qualification medium from long-term skill list and some experience in the relevant field. All right, Jatin. You just mentioned that how easy it is to migrate to Australia. Look, easy or difficult, it all depends on your profile, my friend. I can't say whether it's easy for you. It may be easy for a lot of other applicants out there. It may be difficult. So it's hard for me to say it's easy or difficult. I need to see the profile. If you have got the qualification, if you have got the relevant experience, definitely it would be easier for you. But as long as you have an employer to sponsor you, then it would be easy for you for sure. But if you do not have the right qualification or the right experience, even if you have an employer, then it will be difficult for you. So to answer your question, how easy it is, so it all depends on your profile, what sort of qualification, experience, and the employer you have, what sort of turnover they have got. And there are a lot of factors we need to look at. So I can't answer that straight away. We need to look at your profile. Is it easy for you or is it difficult for you? I hope that answers your question. Thanks, Chetan. Let me move forward to the next question. Mr. Rajat Gupta, I'm bachelor's in business. Can I get RSMS as cafe manager from regional? Yes, for sure, Rajat. You would be able to apply for a restaurant manager, but my suggestion, Bachelor of Business, you do not have any hospitality background. So I would say before you apply for RSMS, it would be good for your application if you have some relevant experience. So even if you apply before March 2018, the requirement says that you have to have either qualification or experience. So you do have the qualification to apply for a cafe or restaurant manager. You need to have minimum diploma level qualification. So as per the Department of Immigration, if you have diploma level qualification, you are eligible to apply for restaurant manager. But in your case, you do have bachelor, but that's not highly relevant to the nominated occupation, which will be restaurant manager. So in your case, if you would have Bachelor of Hospitality Management, would have said yes, it is a perfect qualification for a restaurant manager. But if you've got Bachelor of Business, I would say before you put in your application, make sure you have some relevant experience. It doesn't affect your application much because you do have the qualification above diploma level qualification. But if you have a relevant experience, it will definitely create a positive impact on your application. There are very good chances your application will get through if you have relevant experience. So talking about whether this qualification would be okay or not, it is all right as long as you have some good experience. Even if you don't, then it should be okay. But to make your application strong, it will be good if you have some experience as a restaurant manager in the past. So let's move on to the next question. So this is from Mr. Abid Islam Ovi. I'm currently holding 457 visa, but want to change employee. I'm currently holding 457 visa, but want to change employee. You mentioned employee, so I assume it would be employer. Will it be remain old rule or new rule for me? So if you want to change your employer, it should be okay as long as the nominated occupation you have remains the same. So if you want to change your employer, that should be okay. That's fine. I mean, as long as you're not changing your nominated occupation, and you know, it should be okay. If you want to apply for a new nomination, it should be okay. All good, Abid. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see the next question, please. Mr. Hadeep Singh, my 457 visa will finish next April. So can I apply PR with previous rules, or it applies new rules? So yeah, Hadeep, unfortunately you are at the borderline. Like I mentioned before as well, I'm not sure if you've been on Facebook live session, which we are doing at the moment. I was discussing this thing before. From March onwards, most likely the requirement will be changing. You have to have minimum 3 years of experience to apply for ENS transition stream. So unfortunately, in your case, you know, we are still waiting for an update from the department. What's going to happen to the existing 457 visa holders who will be eligible to apply for, you know, like existing 457 holders, and they will be getting, you know, they will be completing their 2 years after, like say in your case, you will be completing in April, which is just the next month onwards after the major changes. So it has not been clarified again from the department. It's not, you know, 100% from the department. We are waiting for new or updated information from the department. We have sent few emails and, you know, requested the department to provide us the information. So we are waiting for an update, but as per the current scenario, the new changes will be implemented from March 2018, and you have to meet the criteria for 3 years to apply for ENS rather than 2 years. I hope that answers your question, my friend. Let's move on to the next question. This is from Mr. Brajesh Patel. Do we need 3 years of experience before apply new 457 or after? All right, Mr. Brajesh, if you want to apply for 457 visa, if you want to apply before March, there is no as such requirement that you need to have experience, you know, before you apply for 457 visa. From March onwards, if you want to apply for a 457 visa, you have to have minimum 2 years of experience. And if you want to apply for RSMS visa, which is Regional Sponsored Migration Scheme, if you want to apply for that visa, you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time relevant experience. So as long as you lodge your application before March 2018, either it's 457 visa or RSMS visa, as long as you have got the qualification, it is not mandatory for you to have a relevant skill, like, you know, it's not mandatory for you to have a work experience in that particular occupation. However, if you do have, it's good for your application. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Let's move on forward for the next question. It's from Mr. Indra Sapkota. Can I apply as a chef with RPL through Certificate 4? And I have got Cert 3 and sorry, let me read that again, sorry. Can I apply as chef with RPL through Certificate 4? And I have got Cert 3 and I have got 3.5 years experience as a cook in Australia and student visa. So you got RPL qualification and you have got 3.5 years of experience as cook in Australia. Right, so now to answer your question, Mr. Indra, the thing is that I mean, you do have the qualification which is from RPL. Now, as per the TRA, which is Trade Recognition Australia, if you have RPL qualification, so the requirement for TRA, either you want to apply for cook or chef, is that you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time experience. So you mentioned in your question that you have 3.5 years of experience as a cook in Australia on student visa. So my concern here is that, you know, if you, I mean, that's something department can pick up as well. If you've been on a student visa, you can't prove that, you know, obviously you are restricted to work 20 hours per week. You can't show that you've been working full-time during all of your, I mean, you've been working full-time during your stay in Australia on student visa. So that's one of the other thing you need to be aware of. You need to be very careful of. You can't show, if you're on a student visa, even though you've worked full time, you can't show to the department that you've been working full time on student visa just to get the skill assessment done. Because down the track, if Department of Immigration picks it up, you can be in trouble. Now, talking about certificate 4, if you got through RPL, unfortunately, if you got the qualification through RPL, which is recognition to prior learning, you have to have minimum 6 years of experience rather than 3. So if you have studied Cert 3 or Cert 4 from Australia, you can apply for TRA skill assessment as a cook or a chef. But if you got the qualification on the basis of RPL, you have to have minimum 6 years of experience as per TRA guidelines. So I hope that answers your question, my friend. Let's move on further. So the next question I have here is from Mr. Guru Pandya. I have done diploma in business and management and currently studying bachelor's of business. And I got 6.5 overall band in IELTS, but in one module I got 5.5. So am I eligible to RSMS visa? Unfortunately, Guru Pandya, you are not eligible to apply for RSMS visa because it is mentioned on, if you want to have a look, it is meant, like if you jump onto Department of Immigration website, if you look at the English requirement for RSMS visa, the visa applicant must have minimum 6 each in IELTS or PTE equivalent. So you have to have minimum 6 bands in each module, listening, speaking, reading, writing, 6 each in IELTS to apply for RSMS visa. So if you have anything less than 6, unfortunately you cannot apply for RSMS visa. So yeah, that's what the answer to your question is. All right, let's move forward. So the next one I've got here is from Mr. Shoaib Ronnie. I'm on 457 visa and I'll have 2 years of experience on April 2018. Will I be able to apply for 186 or I need to wait 3 years? All right, Shoaib, the same sort of question I just had it from one of the other another person who's watching the live session. So as per the new guidelines or as per the new changes, so far you can only apply for ENS transition stream before March 2018. However, we are still waiting for the update. What's going to happen with the existing 457 holders who will be completing their 2 years just after a month or so when these major changes going to come in effect. So as per the new rules, you will not be eligible to apply for an ENS transition stream after March 2018. But saying that, it could be different. As I said, we haven't received updated information from the department and we're still waiting. But as per the new rules, if you have 2 years of experience or if you're completing 2 years with your employer before March 2018, you can apply for ENS transition stream. But unfortunately, that will not be the case after March 2018. I hope that answers your question again. I'm sure this is a very common question we get asked, but yeah, like I said, we do not have enough information from the Department of Immigration what exactly going to be the scenario for the applicants who will be completing in April 2018 or May 2018, whether they will be falling under the category for 2 years or 3 years. But I can only give you the information what we have from the department at this stage, that you will not be able to apply for ENS transition stream on the basis of 2 years if you want to apply after March 2018. So I hope that clears a lot of doubts out there. So let's move forward to the next question. Next question is from Mr. Ashdeep Man. Can I be sponsored as a chef after finishing Cert 4 cookery in September without experience? So can I be sponsored as a chef after finishing Cert 4 commercial cookery in September without experience? All right, Ashdeep, the thing is that, look, to apply for chef, the minimum requirement as per ENS STSOL is you have to have minimum diploma level qualification. So if you have Cert 4, you may not be eligible to get a sponsorship under RSMS or 457 visa. So you have to have minimum diploma level qualification to apply as a chef. However, if you've got Cert 4, you can apply as a cook. So you can apply as a cook for RSMS or 457 visa, but if you have Cert 4, you will not be able to apply for chef occupation because it requires diploma qualification. I hope, like diploma in hospitality or commercial cookery, if you have it, by all means you can apply for chef. I hope that answers your question. All right, let's move forward for the next question. The next question that's on my screen is from Mr. Jel Gurg. I have a 457 visa work. Hang on a sec. I have 457 visa working. Sorry, I misread that. I have 457 visa working as a chef in regional area and 2 years in this June. Applying for PR in July. Do I have to have IELTS 6H? So what do you mean to say, Jel, if I'm not wrong? You've been on 457 visa for 2 years. You will be completing your 2 years in June, and you want to apply for PR in July. Well, do I have to? Yes, that's right. So basically you will be applying under 457 ENS transition stream. So even though you have completed your 2 years of employment with your current employer in June, but if you want to lodge your application after 1st of July 2017, you have to have minimum 6 each in IELTS. That's one of the major changes happening from 1st of July 2017. So like I said to a lot of other clients, no, I wouldn't say a lot of clients, like I said before to all of you, that if you are eligible to apply for ENS transition stream, and if you do not meet the English language requirement as per the new rule, so if you have anything less than 6, which the current requirement says you have to have minimum 5 each in IELTS, so if you have that and if you have 2 years of employment with your current employer, as long as you apply before 1st of July 2017, you can still apply for ENS transition stream, but unfortunately, from 1st of July 2017, you have to have minimum 6 each in IELTS. So that would be the case from 1st of July 2017. So yes, if you haven't appeared for IELTS or PT, I would say go for it. You still got couple of weeks remaining. And if you appear for I wouldn't say it's a good idea to go for IELTS, because if you sit for an IELTS exam, maybe tomorrow, day after, you got to wait for another 2 weeks for the results. Whereas if you appear for PTE, most likely you will get the score with, you will get the outcome or the result within the next 3 to 5 working days. So you will get to know if you got the right score or not. So if you have the right score, you would be able to apply for ENS transition stream before 1st of July 2017. Sorry, excuse me. All right, let's move on to the next question we have on the screen is from Miss Karuna Kesh. How long does RSMS takes to process? Do we need to leave country, or we could stay till our RSMS results come? All right, Karuna, the short answer to your question, first of all, how long it takes. The RSMS processing time has increased a lot since, I would say, early this year. I wouldn't say early this year, but from mid of last year, like I would say from August 2016, RSMS processing time has increased a lot. So current processing time for RSMS, I would say, would be somewhere between 12 to 14 months, considering you've got your RCB approved from the local council. So RCB nomination and visa application, the entire process takes about 12 to 14 months to get it approved. So the next question you had was, do you have to leave the country? You may have to, you may not. It all depends what your current circumstances are. So if you hold a substantive visa, and if you haven't had any, if you hold a substantive visa, when I say substantive visa, if you hold a student visa or if you hold any TR visa, which is 485 visa, you do not have to leave the country. You can still apply for RSMS while you're in the country. But say in case if you had a visa refusal in the past, and you're not holding a substantive visa, if you're on bridging visa A, or if you had a visa refusal, and if you applied for AAT for a review to the tribunal, and if you are on bridging visa A waiting for the tribunal hearing, you may have to leave the country. So in that case, if you had a refusal in the country, you will not be able to lodge a valid application because you're subject to Section 48. So I'll just give you a bit of information about Section 48 and how this thing works, because I'm sure there would be a lot of applicants out there who will be in this sort of situation where they need to know what exactly needs to be done and whether they have to leave the country or they can apply from here or not. So yeah, the way it works, if you hold a substantive visa, if you have a current visa or student visa or 485 visa or anything, as long as you hold a substantive visa, you can apply for any other visa application. It doesn't stop you to apply for any other visa application. However, just to give you an example, say I was on a student visa, and my student visa going to expire in August in next couple of months, and I've applied for RSMS visa, which is going to take another probably 10 or 12 months. What will happen to me if what will happen to me after August, because my visa will expire by that time? So as soon as you lodge your application, if you have a substantive visa, you will be granted a bridging visa A, so which allows you to remain in the country until your application for RSMS gets finalized. So if I'm holding a student visa and if I've applied for a RSMS, even though my visa is going to expire in the next couple of months, I will jump onto bridging visa A, so I can remain in the country until my RSMS visa gets finalized. So I can still stay in the country, I can still work, I can study if I want to, I can travel overseas if I want to, but that's not the case if you had a refusal in the past. If you're not holding, first of all, say in this case, let's talk about this case again. Same thing. If I'm on a bridge, like if I'm on a student visa, my student visa is going to expire in say August in next couple of months, I will jump onto bridging visa A, and I'm waiting for my RSMS application to be finalized. So say 10 months later, my RSMS nomination, or for some reason my RSMS application gets refused, what it means that I will be given 28 days from the Department of Immigration to leave the country. So, but in the meantime, within those 28 days, in the meantime, if I find another employer I want to lodge the application from, there is a way out of that. So basically the way it works, you can lodge an application from offshore. So, I mean, I don't want to go detail into it. Like I said, there are some ways we can work it out. But if you are in that sort of situation where you had a refusal in the past and you do have an employer to sponsor you, please go and see your migration agent, seek for a professional advice, I would say, rather than, just thinking about it, what can be done, and, reading on the internet. And there's a lot of information available on internet, on Google. That's your best friend. So there are a lot of information there. You read a lot of stories there, and at the end of the day you get confused what exactly the real answer is. So like I said, if you go to the right person, you may have the right answer as well. So I would say if you're in a situation like that, feel free to speak to your migration agent. I'm pretty much sure they will be able to assist you further in that. So let's move on forward with the questions again. So the next, I'm getting a lot of questions on the screen, and I would really apologize. I would like to apologize that I will not be able to answer all the questions which are coming up on the screen. Whatever comes up on my screen, as you can see, I'm talking while I'm answering the questions, and I'm giving as much as information I can. Whatever comes up on my screen, I just have a look and I'll try to answer those questions. But all these questions you're asking will be answered as soon as possible. We have got a dedicated team who's going to answer all of your questions as soon as possible. But please allow us some time so we can revert back to all these questions we are getting online. So sorry about that if it takes a bit of time to get back to you. So just allow us some time. So let's move on further with your questions. So the next question I've got on the screen is from Mr. Herman Gambir. Hello sir, I have a certificate 3 in pastry and advanced diploma in hospitality. Can I apply sponsorship as a chef? Alright, so if you have certificate 3 and advanced diploma in hospitality, alright, that's again, it's a very good question, Harman, I would say. We need to look at the subjects, what you have completed in your advanced diploma of hospitality and certificate 3 in pastry. So when you say you want to apply as a chef, are you talking about like pastry chef, or are you talking about the the commercial cookery chef? So if you want to apply as a pastry chef, most likely that will be all good if you have advanced diploma in hospitality and certificate 3 in pastry. So but again, if you want to apply for a chef as a commercial cook, I mean like in a commercial kitchen, then it's different. We need to see what are the subjects you've completed. So I hope that answers your question. Let's look at the other one. That's from Mr. Bhupender Singh Khan. What will be the IELTS requirement after March 18 for 457 visa holder? Alright, Mr. Bhupender, for 457 visa holder, if your occupation falls on bad list, which is short-term list, you still need the same IELTS, which is 4.5 each with 5 overall. That's when your occupation falls on STSOL list. But if your occupation falls on MLT, which is medium to long term, which I call good list, if it falls on that list, you have to have minimum 5 each from March 2018 onwards. So up till March 2018, it's still the same. But if you want to apply for the occupation which is on medium to long term list, you have to have minimum 5 each in IELTS. I hope that answer helps you to understand how it works, how the current change is going to affect you, Mr. Bhupender. Alright, so the next question I have on the screen is from Mr. Ashdeep Man. Is cook occupation will remain in RSMS list after March or not? All right, Arshdeep, it's really hard for me to answer this question. It's not only me, because you have asked a question which, considering the recent changes done by Department of Immigration and what I mentioned before, because Department of Immigration will be reassessing the list after every 6 months. So it's not the case what we had before. Before we had every year on 1st of July, we have a new list which used to be like SOL and CSOL list, which was, available to all the applicants out there for rest of the year. Whereas what has happened in this year from major changes happened on 19th of April. The new information what we have from the department, all this medium to long term list and short term list will be reassessed every 6 months. So it will be reassessed in March as well, in December, I wouldn't say in July, probably 2 weeks later. It will be reassessed on 1st of July, it will be reassessed in December, and from March as well it will be reassessed. So it may be there or it may not be there, but one thing for sure I can tell you, one of the major thing I forgot to tell you guys about it. If you want to apply for RSMS, so currently, if you want to apply for RSMS, your occupation can be on short-term list or medium to long-term list, which is a good list and bad list. So if your occupation is on good list, if your occupation is on bad list, you can still apply for RSMS. Whereas from March 2018, and I do apologize for that once again, I forgot to mention this point before, which is very, very, very important. From March 2018 onwards, it is most likely that if you want to apply for RSMS, your occupation must be on a good list, which is medium to long-term list. So if your occupation falls on short-term list, you may not be eligible to apply for RSMS. It is very, very important to know. So, if your occupation is on medium to long-term, which is good list, you can apply for RSMS. If your occupation is on short-term, which is a bad list, you may not be able to apply for RSMS. There again may be certain occupations which are only assigned for regional areas, may be added to medium to long-term list, but those occupations will be specifically designed for RSMS visa. But the major thing is that if your occupation is on medium to long-term, then only you can apply RSMS visa. Otherwise, you may not be eligible to apply for RSMS visa. All right, so let's move further with the next question. This is from Mr. Ferry Malik. I'm currently on 457 visa from 1 year with relevant degree. I have 2.5 years of experience from overseas. Can I apply for ENS? I'm currently on 457 visa from 1 year with relevant degree. All right, Mr. Ferry. So what are you saying, that you have the qualification, you do have the experience as well? Can you apply for ENS or not? I'll just give you a bit of overview. To be eligible to apply for ENS transition stream, you have to have at least 2 years of experience with the relevant, with this. You just mentioned that you are on 457 visa. So to meet the criteria for ENS transition stream, you must have worked with your current employer for 2 years. So if you have worked with your current employer for 2 years, you get eligible to apply for ENS transition stream. So the answer is, in your case, you will not be eligible to apply for ENS transition stream because you have been on 457 with your current employer only for 1 year, and the requirement is 2 years. Whereas if you have 2.5 years of experience, which you mentioned, there is another category under ENS. Instead of transition stream, you may be eligible to apply for direct stream. Now the requirement for direct stream is that you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time experience and mandatory skill assessment, and you need minimum 6 each in IELTS. So as long as you meet these 3 requirements, you need to have minimum 3 years of full-time experience, you have to have a skill assessment for the nominated occupation, and you have to have minimum 6 each in IELTS, and most importantly, you have an employer to sponsor you for that nominated occupation. You can apply under ENS direct entry, and it's a direct permanent residency application. So for ENS, there are 2 categories. One is transition stream, which you apply after 457 visa. There is another category called direct entry, which you apply directly if you have got experience and employer to sponsor you. I hope that helps you to understand how it works, how ENS works, Ferry. So let's move on further. So the next question I've got is from Mr. Yogesh Sagar. My 2 years of work experience completes on April 4th of 2018 for ENS 457 and PR. Is my employer able to apply for PR according to the new rules, as 457 is going to abolish in March 2018? Right, so Yogesh, you've asked the same question which I answered before. So if you're going to complete your 2 years on 4th of April 2018, which is obviously after the major changes which is happening which are going to happen in March 2018, most likely you have to meet the 3 years requirement. But saying that, we are not 100% confident about this thing, as we have not received the the updated information from the department. We are still waiting for the information from the department whether what's going to happen with the applicant who are going to complete their 2 years just after the major changes which are happening in March 2018. So as per the current information, you may not be eligible to apply for transition stream after March 2018. So as long as you're completing your 2 years of employment with your current employer before March 2018, you can apply for ENS transition stream. After March 2018, most likely you have to meet the 3 years requirement. But again, saying that, we are still waiting for the update from the department. There may be a provision, there may be an option for you, which we have not received any information from the department. So yeah, just finger crossed. Hopefully we get some positive response from the department. But like I mentioned before, just stay tuned on our Facebook page. As soon as we get some information or any new information about these new changes, we will update that on our Facebook page, and you would be able to apply for ENS. All right, so let's move on further. Mr. Ashish Chaudhary, do I need any experience for medium to long-term visa as a cook or chef? What about RSMS before March? All right, so the good thing about medium, like before March, Mr. Ashish, there is no as such requirement for experience. Either you have, if you have, as long as you got the qualification, there is no mandatory requirement for you to have work experience. So as long as you apply before March 2018 for 457 or RSMS visa, if you have the qualification, you can apply for 457 or RSMS visa. However, things are changing from March 2018. You have to have 2 years of experience for 457 visa. You have to have minimum 3 years of full-time relevant experience for RSMS visa. So make sure, I'm talking about full-time experience. So say if you've been on a student visa in Australia, and if you've been working as a cook, even though if you've been working as a cook full-time, so you can't go to the department, and I would not recommend you to go to the department and say, hang on, even though I was restricted to work only 20 hours, but I've been working full time. I mean, basically at the end of the day, you are breaching your visa conditions. So in short, I would say, things gonna affect a lot to students out there from March 2018, because their experience requirement will be implemented. And if that comes into the picture from March 2018, a lot of students will not be eligible to apply for 457 visa or RSMS visa. So I repeat my words again, what I said before. If you have an employer, if you've been working with your employer, if your employer is willing to sponsor you, please do it before March 2018. However, talking about the 457 visa holder, existing 457 holders, I strongly recommend to see your migration agent. You may be eligible to apply for a general skill migration pathway. So for cook, you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time experience. If you've been on 457 visa, you have to have minimum 3 years of full-time experience. You may be eligible to apply for 457, general skill migration. Maybe if you're a cook, obviously you can only apply for state sponsorship or state regional sponsorship. So the main thing you need to consider is that you have to have minimum 6 each if you want to go for general skill migration. So general skill migration is an independent PR option. It has nothing to do with your employer. As long as you've got the experience, you can go independent pathway. You do not have to rely on your employer for transition stream or other ways like RSMS. If you have experience, get 6 each, I would say, in IELTS or PTE. Get your skill assessment done, see your professional migration agent, get an advice. There may be an option out there. For chef, there are a lot of options available for chef, for cooks as well. For restaurant managers, that's one of the other thing I would like to bring in notice. Like for restaurant managers, there are a lot of options available for restaurant managers. If you've been working as a restaurant manager for 457 visa, and as long as you got the relevant qualification, you may be able to get your degree assessed from VEDASSIS, because VEDASSIS is the authority that assesses your skill as a restaurant manager. So like I said, I can keep talking about the occupations which are available out there for 457 visa, but depending what your current occupation is, it's better. Every case is different. Now we got to assess the case, to see what qualification. We have to pretty much look at everything. When I talk about general skill migration, it's all point based. So we need to see like what's your age, what qualification you have from Australia. Even overseas qualification can be considered to claim points. What sort of English level you have. If you have like 6 each, there may be an option for 190 or 489 visa. But if you're really good in English, if you can score 7 each in IELTS, there is a very high chance you may be eligible to apply for direct permanent residency for 189. It all depends on the occupation, which occupation we are talking about. So like I said, I would highly recommend for all of you to apply for employer sponsored visa as soon as possible. Do not delay. And for people who are on existing 457 visa, please look for a professional advice. There may be an option available to you. Do not rely on ENS transition stream or RSMS visa. I know a lot of people may not like this, but this is really good for those people who have been on 457 visa and they do have experience and qualification, but they still not managed to get a permanent residency here in Australia. So it is important for you to know whether you have got enough points to apply for general skill migration or not. So I repeat my words again, do look for the option for general skill migration. Your qualification, your dependent qualification, you can claim points from your dependent as well. There are a lot of ways available to you if you look for a general skill migration, but for that you may not be eligible to find out all the options available to you by yourself. So that is the reason why I'm saying go and see a registered migration agent. They may be able to help you with that. As you know, we do have our offices in Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, Adelaide and Brisbane. So feel free to get in touch with any of our offices. Give us a call, book an appointment. We would be able to help you with your queries. Send us an email. We've been assisting a lot of clients in the past. I don't know if you're on our Facebook page or not, but if you have a look, we have got genuine reviews from the clients. They're really happy with the customer service. We always try our best to give as much as information we can to our clients so that we can help them out. So I can see that still I'm receiving a lot of questions up there. But this was just an informative session for the new changes which is going to happen in July, December and March 2018. But like I said before, I can't answer all these questions. I tried my best to answer as many as I can, but we need some time to reply back to all these questions. So please allow us some time to revert back to you and answer all of your queries. But if you have any questions, please ring our offices, and you can find the contact number or the contact details on our Facebook page. On our website, which is www.aussiesgroup.com. Sorry, excuse me. So for people who have got who has not been able to achieve the right score in English or like IELTS or PTE, I would highly recommend to go for PTE. One of the last thing I would like to introduce is I don't know, a lot of you may not know that we have recently introduced something which will be really helpful for students who wants to appear for PTE exam. If you jump onto this website www.ptetutorials.com, you may be eligible. You will find a lot of practice tests available there. So if you've been struggling to get the right score for PTE, just jump onto this website. Make yourself comfortable with the practice test, and that gives you more confidence before you go to the exam. And like I said, still you have 2 weeks to go before the change is going to happen for 1st of July 2017. Book your dates. If you need some assistance regarding any sort of process, or if you have got any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. And thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your time, and I would probably this is the time to end up this Facebook Live session. And for all the other questions the other clients had regarding general skill migration, which was from accounting, IT and engineering background, we will be having another Facebook Live sessions coming up in next few weeks. So just keep an eye on our Facebook page. We will update all the information. And I hope you're happy with the information being given today. But if you have any other questions or any other doubts, give us a call directly on our to our respected office. And and all these questions we have received online, we will try to get in touch with you as soon as possible and revert back to you with all the possible answers. Thank you so much, everyone, and thanks a lot for your time once again. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks. Take care. Bye.